I'm David Avallone, and this is...
Roberta Vasquez.
And Roberta, how many were you in?
3, 4, it's been a long time, and it's 30 years? Has it been 30 years? Has it been that long? Oh my gosh, I think maybe 25 to 30 years. So I remember the first one I was in was PICASSO TRIGGER, and I was a bad guy. And then the other ones after that, then I was one of the good guys.
You were Donna's partner in Guns?
Yep.
Do or Die?
Yep.
This is like a quiz. Mm-hmm. Hard Hunted, Fit to Kill, and that's it.
Yes, and that's it.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
I worked on Hard Hunted and Fit to Kill as Andy's right hand. And I'll tell the quick story, the ridiculous story. I wrote a press kit for Do or Die for Arlene. And I hadn't met Andy. And she said, Andy wants to meet you. Come by the office. I was like, okay, I'll come by the office. And I came to the office down on Sunset. And Andy was in, like, there was a little kitchenette when I came in. And you were like, oh, go back. Andy's in the back. Go say hi. And he turns around and looks at me, and he looks me up and down. And I didn't look a lot different than I look now. And he said, I could tell right away you're 3 things I can't stand. And I said, what's that, Andy? And he said, you're a college boy, you're a Yankee, and you're a Democrat. And I said, that is all true. That is all completely true. He's like, well, anyway, you're a hell of a writer. I really like what you did. Come back. I'll call you over the summer. We'll make some movies. And it's Hollywood. Everyone says that. So I was like, yeah, Andy, it's great. And I took the bus home. I didn't have a car at the time. And 2-3 months later, he calls up in the middle of summer. He says, come on up to the house, and I still don't have a car. This house is at the top of a hill. Mile and change. Vertical, steep. And I was dressed like this. I took off my shirt and my jacket, put them in my briefcase. All of the gardeners were laughing at me as I walked up the hill. And got up here. I took my pocket square, toweled myself off daintily, had my meeting with Andy. He said, you're going to be my writing assistant. We'll beat out the plot together. We'll write the thing. And so can you come back on Monday? And I was like, can we write it at the office on Sunset Boulevard so I can take the bus there? And Andy said, well, no, that's ridiculous. Tell you what, Alexa hasn't been driving the Mazda. Why don't you take my daughter's car? She had a second car. He also gave me, and he told me not to tell you, he wrote me a check for $200 on top of my pay. He said, don't tell Arlene about this. She'll be mad at me. And I was broke, and I had no car, and I had walked in 100-degree weather to this meeting. And so an hour later, I'm driving down Sunset Boulevard in a brand new Mazda 626, 5-speed, with $200 in my pocket, and I went, what just happened to me? I mean, it was a good thing, but what the hell was... I have a car now. Like, I don't know what to do with that. So, and then we made 2 movies together.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you the first time I met Andy. So at the time I was working with Playboy, and we would go on all kinds of auditions, and they said that I was going to go out on an audition, and but as I was driving up this big long hill, it's all residential. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this isn't an office. I'm going to someone's home. And back in the 80s,
Sure.
A young woman, you're always like, oh God, where did they send me this time? And I walk in, and there's Andy Sidaris. And, he lives in a beautiful house with a pool, and he had shorts on, and
Very short shorts.
Exactly.
Very
and
short.
his shirt was like probably all the way unbuttoned, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm thinking, oh my God, wait till I get out of here. I hope I get out of here alive. Wait till I tell my agent. And then right behind him comes Arlene, and I'm like, oh, thank God. And she was all business. And Arlene, you took over the speaking and negotiations and everything, and Andy was just kind of sitting back, letting you do everything. And I felt so comfortable once I saw you, because up until then I was like, oh my God, where am I? Where did they send me? And Andy is just like such a teddy bear, He was such a teddy bear, and just, he would have these one-liners, like Hollywood hey baby, how you doing, or something like that. But it was just such an innocence in the way that he handled all of these women. He was surrounded by beautiful women, naked and in hot tubs most of the time.
Most of the time.
And it was always professional. And that's definitely one thing that I appreciated about him.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And besides, Arlene was right behind him. So.
Here's one more Andy story about production. We were in Lake Havasu City. Excuse me. We were in Lake Havasu City, and Bruce Penhall was the spokesman for one of the spokesmen for Oakley sunglasses. And we were shooting, and we went to lunch, and Andy had his promo Oakley sunglasses on, and about an hour after lunch, he started freaking out about how slow things were going. Oh my God, we're losing light, And me and Mark Morris are looking around like, it's 2:00 in September, Andy. We're gonna be fine. But he was flipping out, and we couldn't figure it out. And eventually, Mark says, "Andy, take off your sunglasses." And Andy takes off his Oakley sunglasses and went, "Oh, what the hell?" I thought, he's like, and what had happened was, right after lunch, a cloud had rolled in front of the sun and had suddenly made it a lot darker, and particularly if you were wearing those stupid sunglasses.
Yeah, it was just such like a family environment. And we had a lot of fun. We got to travel to get together, which was really nice. And what I really liked about the movie is how creative you would have to be. So, for example, we would be in Hawaii, and we would be at the airport, and we would all be in a van, and we'd be driving around, and all of a sudden, when the timing was good, okay, everyone jump out, do your scene, jump back in the van and take off.
And that fern, that little palm that Andy would put in front of the camera, we would shoot in the United States stuff that was supposed to be in Hawaii.
Yep.
And we would have that one potted palm that Andy would put in the foreground.
Yeah, I remember a scene similar to that because we were in Las Vegas out in the middle of the desert. And I wasn't in the scene, but it was Donna and someone else. And we had to stop because I guess things, I don't know, for some reason we were stopping what we were doing because they had to shoot a scene that was taking place in Hawaii. And they're like, oh yeah, we've got to put this scene in there. And then we were like, the set people are putting in all these plants around it with and the dirt was supposed to be sand and stuff like that.
I remember we were shooting Hard Hunted in Arizona, and we shot a lot of stuff in Arizona that was supposed to be Hawaii. And on one really long day, I remember turning to Andy and saying, we could shoot this on Molokai. And he said to me, I know about you, but I want to be done shooting by 2:00 in the afternoon every day in Hawaii. He's like, what is there to do? We're in Cottonwood, Arizona. This is not a place to have time off. He's like, I want time off on a Hawaiian beach. How about you? And I was like, well, I cannot argue with that at all.
That's right.
Yeah.
Long days in the desert. So after working with all the Andy Sidaris movies, I then went into property development, flipping houses, I guess is kind of how you could do that. And then I got into the mortgage business. So I've been working in the mortgage business for almost 20 years, and I really like it. It's a lot of, I always feel like there's always a path, and everything that I've done in my career, one thing has always led to another. So being able to do the acting in the Andy Sidaris movies.
Acting.
No, it was. No, and it was because it allowed me to be able to, do a lot of public speaking. And so in the job that I do now, I put on a lot of seminars. I do public speaking in front of a lot of real estate agents and a lot of education classes that I do. And so I really do attribute what I do now and the success that I have now from all of the stuff that I did from back in the day when I was working in the Andy Sidaris movies. And so I'm very grateful that I had that opportunity. But I'm very happy with what I do. I am like the farthest from acting or Hollywood as you can be. But that's okay because I think it was just a progression of what I do now. And like I said, the experience that I had in the movies has definitely helped me in my career now.
I stayed working in independent film. I directed some movies and produced some movies and wrote some movies and edited a whole lot of movies and applied a lot of, I have quoted Andy a lot on various sets that I've been on. And also in the last 5 years, I started writing comic books. And weirdly, by sheer coincidence, a lot of the writing that I do in comic books, I have a weird niche of writing about models as comic book heroes. Last year they asked me to do a Betty Page comic, and I wrote. It's funny, I never put two and two together with that until sitting here right now. But I made Betty Page a federal agent,
Oh.
which is a very Andy Sidaris thing to do.
Wow.
And currently I'm writing an Elvira comic book
Oh, nice.
Great.
for Cassandra Peterson, and working with her, and it's great, and it's a lot of fun. And again, it's, you know, action and suspense and thrills and double entendres, so it's not too far off that model. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.